So yesterday we heard that the Fun Pimps had been acquired by Behaviour Interactive. That is the company that makes Dead by Daylight. What this means is that the Fun Pimps are now below Behaviour Interactive and are essentially owned by them. I say this because the Fun Pimps have been rather deceptively calling it a partnership, when in reality it is an actual acquisition. It is not a merger, nor is it a simple business partnership. Today they ran an AMA on Reddit discussing the Behaviour acquisition of the Fun Pimps, and I was going to go through it all question by question, and I did, but frankly, it was a very painful experience of me repeating the same thing over and over again, and it was making me want to eat broken glass, so I figured I'd save us both the pain and summarize what they said with this video instead. While the AMA was supposed to be about Behaviour and the Fun Pimps partnership, they didn't really answer anything interesting or difficult as expected, and mostly repeated the same mantra over and over again, which I'm going to summarize in one comment as: the Fun Pimps are still independent and are still going to make the game the way they want to make it. No restructuring will occur. Behaviour is just providing additional support and resources for art, programming, community and player support to deliver updates faster and more consistently, as well as provide additional support putting more ambitious features in the game. They said a variation of that comment in response to like a dozen behaviour related questions, so we didn't really learn anything new about the acquisition from the AMA because all that shit was said in the video Rick did already. However, we did learn some new stuff about the future of 7 Days to Die with this AMA anyway. In fact, almost all of the questions they actually answered were related to 7 Days and not behaviour, which is annoying but nonetheless useful and interesting. A big fear the community has right now is the future of mod support, and I've seen some real fear mongering about behaviour locking away the files and banning mods, but the Fun Pimps have confirmed in this AMA that at least right now, their plans for modding are exactly the same as they were before. It will be allowed and will work the same way it always has, and in fact, they were asked about Steam Workshop support but said they've actually changed their mind on Steam Workshop and they're considering going through mod.io instead, reason being that it provides mod support natively on all platforms including consoles. So we may have lost Steam Workshop support, but it'll be replaced with another probably pretty convenient option. I'm fine with that, to be honest. I wouldn't have used Steam Workshop that much anyway. I just use Nexus mods or 7daystodiemods.com. It's not difficult to install 7 Days mods. I don't know why people have such trouble with it. Anyway, they said they were also thinking of adding new special infected or mini bosses, new legendary weapons, and of course they have plans for 4.0 and 5.0. 4.0 is now officially confirmed to be the Bandit update, meaning they have delayed it from 3.0 unfortunately again. 5.0 is now the story update. They did say they wanted to rework the texture system to reduce the amount of memory textures take up to improve performance, particularly for consoles, but arguably far more importantly, to allow for greater amounts of textures when building custom bases and POIs, which is great. This is like the most exciting thing in here, I'm not going to be honest with you, chat. They also confirmed that they have no plans to add any pay to win or loot box microtransactions, though they repeatedly affirm in this AMA that they already do cosmetic DLC and plan to use it to continue to fund future development, including plans to collaborate with Behaviour's very effective licensing arm. If you're not familiar, Dead by Daylight has an insane amount of licensed horror characters to play as like $4 to $8 DLCs, so it seems we could expect licensed cosmetics for the future of 7 Days to Die, which kind of blows ass, but it's no worse than what we already have as far as I'm concerned, with the pirate and demon outfits already opening up the floodgates for absolutely out of place garbage cosmetics nobody asked for, but so long as they remain unintrusive and optional, I don't give a shit. They also gave us the first concise explanation of how bandits are going to work. Nothing actually new because we've heard this drip fed to us by Fatal on the forums for years now, but it is nice to have a concise summary. They said bandits are not as easy as just making zombies with guns, as they need to understand viable cover, how to breach bases, good melee ranges, good firearm ranges, interactions and groups, and a whole lot more. We're currently working on the 4.0 A New Threat Bandit update, and here is what we've planned so far. A variety of human enemy archetypes with different types of weaponry and gear. Some specialize in close range aggression with melee weapons, while others focus on ranged attacks using firearms. a cover system, a system for breaching, and a variety of spawning system methods to bring them into the world in a thoughtful and game stage governed way. It's a big feature with many interconnected parts, but we're excited about the progress so far and will share more details later this year. Stay tuned. Which is interesting stuff, and indeed confirms that 3.0 is no longer the Bandit update. And honestly, I wish I could tell you that the AMA had anything more interesting than all of this, but it really didn't, even though it ran for like 4 hours. A lot of repeated assurances that behavior won't ruin the game and it'll help develop develop it faster, and some teasers of new content that we were already faintly aware of. So that was something. If you want to see my initial video going over the news of the acquisition, check out this video on screen. Subscribe for more. We're trying to hit 100k by the end of the year. We're doing pretty well. Thank you so much for watching.